Afternoon everybody, Rich here, back for another video for the Diecast F1 review. Here today is the Mclaren MP4-27 from the 2012 Formula 1 World Championship, and in the car is Jenson Button. Now McLaren went into 2012 as relatively the favourite after a very successful testing scheme or testing session at the early part of the season. The car was quick out the box and it looks set to be one of the favourites for the 2012 season, alongside Red Bull, as Ferrari as well as Lotus looked set to dwindle near the back. At least that's what we thought at the beginning. Ferrari and Renault not having a particularly successful testing season or testing sessions, and it looks set for a McLaren versus Red Bull season. After a fairly successful 2011 season for Jenson Button, at least 3 wins for him and 3 wins for Lewis Hamilton, second in the Constructors' Championship, and McLaren looks set to build on that going into 2012. Although Lewis Hamilton did not have a happy season in 2011, Jenson Button picking up second place throughout the season. It was 2011, of course, that Lewis Hamilton had constant exchanges of insurance details with Felipe Massa. Pretty much every race they collected each other, but that wasn't to be in 2012. With the season started in Australia, McLaren locked out the front row in qualifying, and it looks set for a McLaren whitewash. McLaren only managed to pick up first and third in the race, although it was Jenson Button who picked up the win, as Lewis Hamilton slipped back, even though he was on pole. It was the same again roughly for the Malaysian Grand Prix, but again it was Lewis Hamilton who finished third, but Jenson Button slipped back into the midfield after a collision with Carter Kane, I think it was. Sorry for the pause. It was Lorraine Carter Kane's HRT, I think he collided with in that rain-soaked race. But the rest of the season, it looks set to be. It was an unusual season, to be honest. 2012 was another season like 2010. It was, nobody really deserved the championship, and there was no clear championship contender, as the first 7 races was won by 7 different people. Jenson Button won the first, and it looked set for a McLaren whitewash, but it wasn't to be. McLaren would not win again until round 7, which was Lewis Hamilton's first win of the year at the Canadian Grand Prix. And it was also the race where Lewis Hamilton cut tyres with the McLaren and signed for Mercedes. And at the time, we all thought, what a fool. Of course, in hindsight, that's the perfect thing he done, as McLaren the next year dwindled in comparison. But McLaren was a consistent car, but it was a year where, by 2012 standards, the McLaren were terrible reliability-wise. Fast cars let down by the team. I mean, there were opportunities for at least 4 more wins throughout the season, which were let down by either mechanical failure or incompetence by the team. Hamilton had qualified pole in Spain, but was denied the pole position because the team had misjudged the amount of fuel it had to run, and of course Lewis had to stop during qualifying and had his best time taken away, so I think he started at the back. Where else was it? It was Abu Dhabi and Singapore, both races in which Lewis Hamilton was leading and had to retire with mechanical problems. The McLarens were also running 1-2 in Italy, but McLaren reliability problems struck on Jenson Button at that time. Lewis Hamilton still won the race, but it was another 1-2 finish that went to waste. There's also a podium opportunity in the Valencia Grand Prix, the European Grand Prix at Valencia rather, and Hamilton was running third, but a stupid collision with Pastor Maldonado eliminated them both. There are all sorts of scenarios throughout the season in which McLaren should have been the outright number 1 throughout the season, or at least Lewis Hamilton should have been world champion. But and also another victory went awry at the Brazilian Grand Prix as well, after a collision with Nico Hülkenberg. Hamilton went for the lead, and Hülkenberg slid off the track and into the side of Hamilton, eliminating him on the spot. But yeah, it was a season in which McLaren should have been the absolute best of the best, but reliability and incompetence as well really sort of let them down. And it was fair to say Hamilton had lost all faith in McLaren. And it sort of showed as well as 2013, 2014 and by far 2015 were the worst seasons that McLaren had endured. Although 2014 was a slight improvement over 2013, it was nothing compared to what 2015 was going to be. yeah, an absolute disaster. 2016 is slightly improved, but still nowhere near. I think McLaren really have lost the plot. It was through 2012, I think, when McLaren has spent more time making cartoons and supercars than actually focusing on their Formula 1 exploits. So it sort of showed their priorities are in the wrong place. But maybe that will improve over time. We don't know. We don't know what 2017 is going to hold, so we'll see. But yeah, the McLaren was the best car, let down by incompetence and reliability. It was one of those seasons. Fast on pretty much all circuits, and it really showed. But yeah, the reliability let it down. So there were 4 victories, 2 victories at least let down by reliability. I'm probably leaving out another one as well, because he had reliability struck in Singapore while he was leading, in Abu Dhabi while he was leading, and there was another one as well, I think. I can't quite remember. But yeah, by 2012 standards it was pretty poor. And yeah, like I said at the beginning, it was another one of those seasons where nobody was declared champion and the light just fell over, so I just picked that up. Yep. So yeah, it was another season where there was no clear champion to be won until the last race of the season, or last few races at least. By that time McLaren were out of it. But never mind, onto the car itself, the MP4-27. This is the early season specification, of course, so we've still got the low droopy nose. So we just zoom, or at least bring the car forward. So we've got the lovely McLaren livery of the time, the Vodafone Mercedes colour scheme. I'm trying to get the light to reflect on it quite nicely, because the natural light isn't that good, so I'm just using the spotlight. And we'll just, I'll stand there, will you? Right, there we go. Right, so we've got go from the nose of the car, so we just bring the car around. So we've got the very droopy, I say it's a droopy nose in comparison to the 2012 cars. This is the low nose version, and whereas everyone else went for a step nose. So we'll go from the nose, do a quick look over the front wing, across the nose, through the suspension, got the Vodafone there, got Jenson in the car, and got the Lucasade on the rear wing. And a very nice carriage as well. So we'll just spin around, have another look again, across the back. And very nicely shaped as well. It's a very narrow looking car, but these cars, going from 2009 to 2010 and onwards, the cars are huge in comparison. And I think the cars are even bigger today. And these cars are, like I said, they are massive to what they used to be. So just have a look over the rear bodywork. Got a bit of dust on it for some reason, even though it's been in the box for over a year. So there we go. You can see where the bodywork really narrows at the rear. There's nothing compared to today's car, where the rear bodywork sculpts around the engine like a like a glove, basically. And we look around the rear, through the rear wing. So the diffuser, the rear light, the rear bodywork, through the gearbox, through the rear body there, and over the top of the chassis. And yeah, you got the reflective wing mirrors there as well. So yeah, overall a very nice car, very shiny with their chromey livery, something which we miss in Formula 1 because now McLaren's are black. But it's a change in the, I suppose, in the right direction. But McLaren don't have a title sponsor anymore, so colour schemes are sort of whatever you make it. But the front wing, intricate details there, sort of one-piece wings though. So there's no individual flaps on the upper element there, or the lower elements. They're sort of moulded into one, but they are painted to make them look like they are separate pieces. Look around the nose. Over the top of the nose, you can see there's the three, the Mobile one, the Pirelli and the Mercedes badge are all in one decal there, so it really does stand out on this car. The decal's actually quite thick, so that does let down a little bit there, but no big issue. And there's very crisp decals on the car as well. They're very crisp. So I'm just going over all the details. It's such a nice looking car, and it's one I'd actually do really like. And then we have a quick look at the steering wheel there. Not too far. I'll focus then. Yeah, actually looks like it's the Chinese Grand Prix edition, because you've got the Chinese Grand Prix or the Chinese circuit map on the inside there. All the dials and things on the steering wheel there. No real detail behind the steering wheel there. There's not much of a glass screen there either. Is there a glass? There is. I think it is slightly glass, or perspex if you like. But no real detailing on there. So I'll turn it around again and have a look at Jenson in the car. So you got all the detailing on there, all the detailed painted shoulder straps, detailing on the helmet, all the join lines, all the body panel joins, air scoops there. The exhausts which come out the side of the side pods as per the rules of that time. No more double deck diffusers if you like. And you got the rear wing there, Pirelli tyres. So this car's massive. And down to the nose again. So that's all the detail covering the top of the car. So I do the usual thing, we tip the car over and have a read on the underside. And this is a massive car. So the usual bits underneath, we've got the Minichamps brand there, we've got the Mclaren MP4-27 bit there, and all the screw holes and things, got the diffuser there. And over across the front, you've got across the underside of the chassis. Lots of weird bulges and pickups there. And we've got these weird scoops here. So that's that. The front wing, not a big fan of the very wide front wing, but that will be exaggerated again next year. So if I go from this angle here and I'll try and get the nose profile, you can see the nose, how much of the nose sloped on this car, whereas compared to the other cars of that year they had a step in the nose. But this had a very graceful slope down to the front wing, or graceful slope down to the tip of the nose. You can see it's a gradual slope, and it's more eye pleasing than what the rest of the teams that year had with the step in the nose. Some cars looked alright with it, but some just looked bloody awful. I mean, the Ferrari of 2012 looked awful. I've got it up on the shelf actually. If I just have a quick zoom in, here's the 2012 Ferrari. You can see you got the step nose there. Oh, look, there's me. Hello. So you got the step nose there on the Ferrari, and I will do a review of this one as well. So that's the 2012 Ferrari, and also the 2012 Red Bull up here, and that's another one with a step nose, but I can't really see that one because there's no light, but that's got a step nose as well. So that's the Red Bull of that year. And also I've also got the Mercedes, not the Mercedes, yeah, I got the Mercedes, and I've done that one, the Mercedes, which is there. I've already done a review of that one. And down below we've got the this is the Lotus E20, but it's painted in the E21 livery, so it's a show car, but to the untrained eye it's basically the 2013 car, but it is the 2012 car painted in with the red bits on it. But this is another of the step nose cars. You can see the step on the nose there, roughly, sort of dips just in front of the front wheels there. So that's that one. So yeah, it's got a few of the cars there, and down there is Lottie the Spaniel. Hello. Yep, she looks a bit worried. But anyway, so back to the McLaren. So yeah, there's the other 4 2012 cars I have. So they've all got step noses, except and this is the only one that doesn't. So hats off to McLaren for having a different concept. Although later on in the season they did adopt sort of a flick nose. The nose dipped and then straightened, which sort of made it higher, but it still looked graceful in comparison. So it was no big issue, no big loss there. It just looked a bit different. So yeah, it's a step nose, but sort of wheelchair ramp, if you like, sort of nose. But that was the only real difference in the front. I think it was only Marussia had a flat nose as well, but they had a very steep chassis. So but they weren't that competitive anyway, so it didn't really count. So exclude Marussia from there. But yeah, we've got the McLaren here, and I will do reviews of the other cars as well. I mean, the Red Bull and the Lotus as well has been a very requested model as well. But like I said, it is a show car, so it may confuse a few people if I do a review of it. But yeah, it's a good model otherwise. But this McLaren though is absolutely stunning, and price wise it tends to vary, because I don't really know much about this one. It did pop up again as well as a show car for 2013 as well, because this car and the MP4-28 from 2013 were very similar in appearance, although the actual 2013 car had a much higher nose with a vanity panel over it, so it had a higher nose, and also there's a lot more black around the rear bodywork here. So those are the only real difference to the naked, or, you know, to the untrained eye really. There are probably a lot more details as well. But this car, this 2012 car, did turn up as a show car for 2013 as well. So if you want to pick up that one as well, because there aren't much difference between the two, the show car and the actual 2012 race car, so there ain't a lot of difference between them. Livery wise, at least. Anyway, there's no shape difference. The livery is virtually the same as well. Maybe the numbers slightly different, but yeah, you can pick that one up as well. But the price wise, it tends to vary. I mean, this one, when this one was bought, it was £59, but that was on eBay, and that was 2 years ago. So I don't really know what the prices are now. This car will probably have a fairly high price still. If you want, I suppose if you want to find a bargain for it, I think the best place is CK Models, a German website. They usually have the best prices for modern die-cast models, and they tend to have a sale on now and then, or at least drop the price now and then. So I'm not really sure what the prices is now, but they're probably cheaper than most other places. So they're the people I would recommend. So CK Models, you probably pick this one up fairly cheaply in comparison to the rest. I'm not sure what the price would be against the euro to the pound, and also because of the EU bullshit going on, the pound is sort of up and down at the moment, so I haven't got a definite price on that. But I suppose if you pay less than £50 for this thing, you're onto a winner, because of the die-cast prices recently. But yeah, it's definitely one for the collection. I mean, if you're a McLaren fan, or if you're like me, just a Formula 1 fan, you'd collect anything, and this thing does look good, either on display in the cabinet or in its box. I mean, the box it comes in is another typical Minichamps box. It's just a black and white checker box, so it's no different to the others. Yeah, it's definitely one for the collection. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say about the whole car. So this is Rich signing off, logging off and disappearing, and if you want me to do a review of those other models, then let me know. So this is me saying goodbye, so bye for now.